Hello, my name is Bradley from InBody, and this is Beyond the Scale, Better Coaching Through Body Composition. Today, I'm going to take you through a InBody 570 result sheet breakdown where I'm going to show you 3 different flows or ways to look at this result sheet for muscle or lean mass, body fat, and body water. We're going to start with the lean mass in the body, and this box up here, this section, the body composition analysis, shows us weight, the total weight, which is going to break down into how much lean mass is in the body, as well as how much fat mass there is. So if we add up these 2 components, it will equal the weight. So lean mass plus fat mass equals weight. The lean body mass is going to split into total body water and dry lean mass. Lean body mass is made of bone, muscle, and water. Here's all of the water, and then this is the bone and muscle content without any water. So if we took away all of the body water and all of the body fat, this is what would be left. So this is the dry lean mass. There's water that's inside the cells, we call that intracellular water, as well as outside the cells, we call that extracellular water. Extracellular water is made up of water that's in the blood and the skin and the lymphatic system. So when we look at this result sheet for the body water specifically, we're going to go down about 3/4 of the way down the page, and we're going to look at this extracellular water to total body water analysis. So this is looking at how much of the total water is within the blood, the skin, and the lymphatic system. And that amount is usually between 36 and 39 in most cases. And in my experience, people that are closer to 36 tend to have higher amounts of muscle, lower amounts of body fat. People that are closer to 39% tend to be retaining more water outside of their cells and have lower amounts of muscle, higher amounts of body fat. This score can really lend some insights to look at the efficiency of somebody's metabolism. Because when we look up here, if we were to look at the total water to the amount of lean body mass, 105.6, we're going to divide that by the 144.2. That's 73.2%. So 105.6 pounds of water is 73.2% of the lean mass. So that means that 72% of the lean mass is water, and then when we look down here, 36.6% of that water is outside the cells. So we can get a good indication of how much intracellular water somebody has by also looking at the amount of muscle that there is. But when we look further, some people might call this ECW, TBW analysis an edema ratio or inflammation, because over time there's a lot of things that can cause this score to change. But when we think about the efficiency of the metabolism, the retention of water here can be an indication of inefficiency when looked at alongside of the amount of muscle. So that's how we can use this result sheet to look at the water. And this is the InBody 570 result sheet. When it comes to looking at the amount of muscle and lean mass in the body, we look at this score here. We can start with total pounds of muscle, and then we can look at, based upon the amount of lean mass in the body, the basal metabolic rate is going to tell us how many calories that this person is using in a 24-hour period of time at rest. So if nothing was done at all in 24 hours, this person would use 1,784 calories. We can use that to customize meal plans and monitor metabolic rate. And then the next section we want to look at when we're considering the lean mass is this segmental lean analysis here. So this shows us the right arm, left arm, trunk, right leg, and left leg. And there's 2 bars for each one of these sections, and they're going to line up with this dark gray area with a dash here, below average range or above average range. But what's most important is that all the scores, we want them to stay above these 100s, which is a percentage, And what that means is a measurement of sufficiency. So if the bottom bar is above 100%, that means we have enough lean mass in that segment to support the body weight. Then the top bar is going to show us how many total pounds of lean mass there is in each one of those segments. We can look at this in another way, and we can compare these segments. So when we look at the legs here, for this person, there's 2% more lean mass in the left leg than the right leg. So we can compare those segments as well as the arms. And if there's a 3% or greater difference in the right leg to the left leg, we would consider that a significant difference, meaning that the imbalance could be a risk, maybe from a previous injury or imbalance, or even a current one. And when it comes to the upper body or the arms, a 6% or greater difference would be a significant difference. And then when we compare any of the segments, upper body to lower body, 10% or greater would be a significant difference. So that's how we could think about the lean mass in three different ways here, looking at the skeletal muscle, the basal metabolic, and the segmental lean analysis. And then one more way we can look at it here is this SMI score. This is a skeletal muscle index, which is calculated by dividing the amount of lean mass in the arms and the legs, and then dividing that by the height squared. So you may be familiar with something called BMI, which is just a weight to height ratio, but it doesn't really take into consideration the amount of lean mass in the body. So a lot of times, like this individual, the BMI is in the obese category, but it's because they have muscle. So SMI is a good indicator of something called sarcopenia, where for males, we want this score to be above 7, and for females, we want it to be above 5.7. If it's below those scores, it could be an indication that sarcopenia is present. Next, let's look at the body fat. On this result sheet here in this muscle fat analysis, we can see that there's 31.8 pounds of body fat, which is 18%. Healthy range for a male is 10 to 20%, and a female is 18 to 28%. Related to the body fat, we can look at how much is in each segment. So we can look at each arm, trunk, and legs and see how many total pounds there are. Then we can take it one step further, and we can look at this visceral fat score. Visceral fat is has a higher health risk associated with it. It's internally in and around the organs, sticking to the heart, sticking to the lungs, the organs, and preventing them from doing their job or making us less metabolically efficient. Research shows that level 10 is the cutoff. We want to keep it below for the rest of our lives, and many medical providers believe that level 8 is the score we should keep it below to maintain good health. We can look at this result sheet in one more way here. In this muscle fat analysis, this is showing us weight, muscle, and body fat. And right here, down the center of this dark gray area with a dash or a normal range, this is the average for the height and the gender of the person who has tested. So this person has more weight, more muscle, and more body fat, but they make an ideal shape, which is a D, meaning that there's more muscle on this graph than weight and body fat. If we wanted to see how close this person is to this average range for their height and gender, we look over here in this body fat lean body mass control, and this is going to show us what it's going to take to get to that average score. So for this person, body fat mass should be reduced by 6.2 pounds, and that would bring this body fat score right down to that line there. And it doesn't make any recommendation for lean mass because we want to maintain lean mass. It's kind of like our fountain of youth, and we want to keep this D shape and not reduce any of the body fat. So for this person, the recommendation is simply a reduction of 6.2 pounds of body fat. And over time, if you were to continue to test in on this result sheet using the same ID, we'd be able to trend these values over time so we can see the weight, the muscle, the body fat, and the edema score over time.